see. Welcome back, everyone, to Parenting with the Zudes podcast. I'm Brad Zude, my lovely, beautiful, talented wife, Greta, and our newest addition, little Miss Aubrey, born a week ago, today? 10 days ago?
12 days ago.
12 days ago.
Yes.
And in this episode, we're going to talk about me giving Greta a surprise home birth. Surprise! And the differences kind of between a hospital birth and a home birth, because we originally kind of started out to do a hospital birth, but everything kind of fell off track, and the whole, that pandemic, the Rona, I don't think I'm supposed to say the name. But anyways, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast here. If you're listening on the podcast, you can actually go to YouTube and search the Zudes, because we're doing a video of this as well. So you'll actually get to see Miss Aubrey right here on camera. So head on over to YouTube, search the Zudes podcast, Parenting with the Zudes. We gotta land on that precise name. So 9 months ago, pregnant. And we just switched insurance.
Right. And with our last baby, baby number 7, we did a home birth and loved it. And but we were kind of sad this time around when we found out our insurance wouldn't cover it this time. So they're a little picky on who they will cover as your care provider or not. So.
Because otherwise, out of pocket, it was going to be like $5 or $6 grand or something, pretty substantial.
Yes, substantial.
And I love you so much.
I know.
But I don't love you like $5
grand.
I mean, that's like, I don't love you that much at all.
Oh, thanks. Wow. But, we were okay with it because we were still going to be able to have most of the things that we wanted to have. And
which involves other people in the birth. So we enjoy, having someone else. One or two other people in the birth, one that can run and get food or get snacks, so I can kind of be full-time on Greta.
Right, and I want to back up a little bit because our first 2 children we had in the hospital, our first 6 children we had in the hospital, but our first 2 children I had epidurals with, and then baby number 3 we decided we were going to go all natural, and there was no going back. So we had to figure out some ways that, I could cope with the pain of childbirth. And one of those ways was to have our doulas, who are just our friends, there to help us. And so Brad could really focus on me and not be worried about, talking to nurses or whatnot. And I also really like to be touched. Some people don't like to be touched during labor, but it's very soothing for me to be touched. So our friend
reassured. Yeah,
just it's very relaxing. Just the petting is very relaxing to me. So I'd have people petting me all throughout my labors. But we thought, okay, well, we can still
that'd be something good for the people who are watching this on YouTube to put in the comments below if you like to be touched or not during the labor. It's like all these preferences. Not that I've been in any other births, but it's like some women like to wear clothes, some women just take it all off. Some people like to eat, some people like music and smelly candles, and I don't know.
Yeah, I like to be pet.
To each their own.
Yeah. So, but then, with all the restrictions that came about, 6 weeks before she was due.
Yeah, well, it was, so the Rona happened, as we all know, and then I work at an essential business, and what happened was someone got the coronavirus that works in our business, and I had contact with them, and we were it was almost like right at 2 weeks out, and so I called the hospital and I said, hey, I need to get a coronavirus test because they won't let me in my wife's birth if I've been exposed or have the coronavirus, which I didn't think I had it, but I'd definitely been exposed to it. And so I'm like, I'll buy whatever it is. I don't care how much, if the test is like $100, I'll pay it. I got to have it, right? And they wouldn't let me do that. There's all the CDC regulations were still really strict. And so I couldn't do that. And so I'm like, man, what are we going to do?
Yeah, so
basically, I didn't even think it was like an option to have a home birth still at that point, because you see you do all the doctor's appointments all along the way and this and that. And we actually had friends who decided kind of, they're due like a month or two after us. And they decided kind of quote unquote last minute to have a last minute home birth.
Right. With a midwife that we know that has been involved in our other friends'.
Yeah. So, when we say home birth, it's like an R. What is her? An R? She's an R. She's a registered nurse.
A nurse practitioner.
Nurse practitioner.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I was totally against home births, by the way. I thought like it'd be like this little old lady coming over with like this little black doctor bag, and like if Greta started like hemorrhaging blood, she would get out like her essential oils and like dab lavender on the wound, and like everything would be okay. And
no, it's not the way it is. She's like she's like a doctor.
Yeah.
She writes prescriptions, and she's the real deal. So anyway, all these restrictions came through. We found out, Brad was, it's possible he wouldn't be able to be there. And on top of it, we wouldn't be able to have any of our doulas there, which is a really comforting thing for me. Yeah, so we, anyways, contacted the midwife. She cut us an amazing deal because she didn't have to do all the appointments for 9 months and all this kind of stuff. We were 1 week out, and she's like, call me when the baby's coming.
Yeah, we were literally 1 week out, and so I like wanted to have like an actual surprise home birth, like surprise, like
we don't have to go to the
she
hospital.
goes in labor, like all the friends jump out from behind the couch, kind of surprise party, but I was like, that might be.
Yeah, we had a little too much planning, and I think I would have been an emotional wreck had that. Had I had my sights on. Okay, we got to go to the hospital. And,
so I had the midwife call Greta, and she starts bawling and all that kind of good stuff, and we end up having a home birth.
So we end up having a home birth. So I mean, a lot of people feel really uncomfortable with when you say home birth, and they say that's not safe. And so I think to talk about with the people who choose to do home birth, like you can't be high risk.
Yeah, you have to qualify for it. See, that's what I didn't understand.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, we're not doing that. But you have to be like top 5% to have a home birth.
Right.
10%, whatever.
You cannot be high risk at all. I mean, with our last home births, they tracked me throughout the way. Now, this lady, she's very comfortable with me and whatnot. But we had different midwives last time. And, I mean, they had me write down weekly, like, what I was eating every day.
Yeah,
and,
it was hardcore.
It was super hardcore.
And little too much. This is not our first.
Like, I took my blood sugar for 2 weeks, checked my blood sugar after meals for 2 weeks, and lots of different things. So, they were very, very, they just made sure that I was very healthy before going into the birth. Mm-hmm. So that we knew that there weren't extra risks of complications. Mm-hmm. Other benefits of home birth are...
Yeah, so talk about the differences between hospital births, versus home births, and, maybe this podcast is probably really good for someone that's like, never even considered a home birth, or maybe on the fence, or all that kind of stuff.
And there's a lot of people kind of on the fence right now because they don't want to go to the hospital. That's where sick people are.
That's where the Rona is.
Yeah. So I think if you have a quality care provider, like if you have someone that you can trust, not somebody that's
not like my cousin's friend who was there when someone accidentally had a baby at home.
Yeah.
Get the hot water and towels.
Yeah. I think you need to have someone that you can trust, especially if you've never done it before. Then you can be reassured that, these people are professionals. They're trained. They know when to transfer to the hospital. They know what to do in those emergency situations. They have all of the equipment and the medication that they need if there is a problem. Mm-hmm. So that's number one. But, some of the benefits are that you're in the comfort of your own home. And there's something that happens in the transfer to the hospital, for me at least, that kind of raises your blood pressure a little bit and just kind of gives you the, especially if you are, wanting to have a natural birth and, you don't want to give into that pain medication. there's just something emotional that happens at that point.
Yeah, it's like, you all have probably had some type of labor, but, you go in there and they're like, oh, are you sure you don't want the epidural? Like,
yeah.
Let's have some Pitocin. Like, are you sure you don't want all these drugs that you swore to yourself 17 times you didn't want to do?
Right. And they're tempting. It's tempting. I mean, even we have committed not to have pain medication, and I still am like, just take me to the hospital and give me the epidural, please.
Yeah.
So it is always a temptation when you're in that amount of pain. But so not having to make that transition to the hospital and not having to, lose your focus in the calmness of, laboring at home, you can just keep going and you're not interrupted in that process. I really like that. I also really love the flexibility that you can have at home and to labor how you want to labor, move how you want to move. And not that they won't let you do that in the hospital, but to walk up and down the halls.
Well, just being so like Greta.
Well, right now you can't do that.
So like
anyway.
you don't. Yeah, you can't do that anyway. But like you don't like having an IV in your arm.
Right.
And even that alone is like I don't want to have an IV, and they want to put just a port in just in case, and it's like
I don't want that.
I don't want that.
I don't want it.
I want to be able to freely move about, the hallway.
Right. And they're like, you can. It's just in your arm, and like I don't want to be poked.
Well, and so what's amazing is that so we were working with the doctor. You had been going to your appointments, and the doctor was kind of pushing you towards all these hospital-y rules, kind of a thing. Which they're a business and they have tons of liability and insurance and protocol, and that's understandable. They're not bad people because they have liability and a business to run. But it's amazing how flexible they got.
Yeah.
When we called them and said, yeah.
I'm not coming back.
We're not coming
back.
back.
Well, we could do this. Well, we could do this. I'm like, you didn't offer that before when I asked.
Yeah. They said what? So one of the things is the worst part about the hospital in my point of view for me, during that traumatic experience for me, is the waiting for the doctor to come and check you out in the 2 days and all this kind of stuff. And so they said, hey, we can get you out maybe even a couple hours after the baby's born.
Which I'd specifically asked about before.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're like, well, we can get you out a couple hours after baby's born and make sure you're okay and everything. And so I'm like, thanks, but it's more about the labor for me than it is. But I thought, wow, that's kind of you, instead of waiting the 24 hours. So, but it is super nice to be at home and just to be in your own bed. And then another part that I like, and you have to be a responsible parent. Like, you have to be prepared to take your health and your baby's health in your own hands when you have a home birth. So it's not like at the hospital where you have people babysitting you and babysitting your baby all the time. Like, when did they eat and how much did they eat? And, and if you're not prepared for that, then don't do it. Even breastfeeding, even getting baby on the breasts and, having the plan and. Right. You have to be prepared for that. But I enjoy just being in control of my baby's feedings and diapers and not having to report to somebody. Like, just leave me alone.
Or being checked. Or being, woken up and checked and.
Yes. Having your tummy pressed on. Oh, that's awful. So it is nice, and the midwife is a call away, and she's right there, and the hospital is 5 minutes away for us too. So if there is an issue, but again, you have to be willing to take your health into your own hands and be responsible for that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Sure. Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's wrap it up for this one, and we got to get the name and the signature down. We've got the intro. We're just really revamping the podcast and everything. It's amazing. Like we get so many. We haven't podcasted in a long time. We get hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of downloads, between 500 and 1,000 downloads. And we haven't podcasted in a long time, and we're really excited for the new venture. So if you're watching this on YouTube, you can subscribe to the podcast. If you're watching this on the podcast, head over to YouTube, type in the Zudes. If you want more information about our #1 best-selling baby sleep book or any of our parenting programs, there's links below in the description. And we got to get little Miss Aubrey here. Probably she's
nap time.
She's conked out.
She is.
She's had a hard podcast. All right, guys. We'll see you on the next one.
Bye-bye.
Bye.